All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rechakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. As always, peace, blessings, and salutations to the tabernacle of David, the four elect that are scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. These Christians do not know prophecy. Now this video, I just, came on to it, because I saw the title and it stuck out and I was like, oh boy, there's, I don't know if, what denomination of Christianity he believes in, but you see the title, it says the mark of the beast already happened, and that changes everything, so, more, misleading, more falsehood, based on his own interpretation and understanding. And on top of that, when I'm looking at him and it looked like he's reading from something. Like it's not naturally coming, from him. It's not like when we do these lessons, when we do these videos, for the most part, it's improv. Like the spirit just hops on us and we, we'll do these lessons, whether it's a response video to other people who's going into particular topics. We see something that's off and we know the answer to it. We know the truth. We respond to it with the truth. We go into the evidence, via the scriptures, and we go into the meaning of the words. And we, respond, which the scriptures say, to rebuke Second Timothy, where Paul basically says to be instant in season, out of season, right? Reproving, rebuking, exhorting with all long suffering and doctrine. So we have the spirit of truth. So therefore we can discern when somebody is coming in the spirit of error or the spirit of truth. All right. And that person can, they could be sincere, but that still don't excuse them from, being misleading and speaking deception. So I knew just right off the back, this title alone, that I'm like, yeah, this is totally off. It's saying that the mark of the beast already happened. It's damn near like saying it's like saying the resurrection has already passed, because that was what Alexander and Philetus was teaching, and that means also you would have to be a preterist, and most preterists, they teach that you have partial preterists and then you have full preterists. Full preterists believe that everything was already fulfilled by 70 AD, which is very problematic. They'll say even the books of Revelation, the things that John saw, was already fulfilled by 70 AD. But that'll just let you know that they don't even understand the timeline of history. Okay? But let me get that in Timothy, because that's a doctrine of the devil to teach or even put it in the title of your video that the MOT to the B had already happened. I think it's Timothy 1. When you say that certain events that was prophesied to happen had already happened, and it actually had not happened yet. Is it for, no, it might be 2 Timothy. Hold up. Let's go to 2 Timothy. Yep, here it is. It's 2 Timothy 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 15, because that's, vital to understand these scriptures. Plus, you got to have the spirit, which it tells you. Got Job 32:8, where it says, "There's there's a spirit in man, and an inspiration from the Almighty giveth them understanding." And let me read it just to verify it. I believe that's how it goes. Job 32:8, "But there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding." And the inspiration is the Holy Spirit. All right. And that's how, you get understanding, because it's the spirit, which is the spirit of truth, that comes with this book that guides you into the understanding. So you'll be able to break it down and interpret it. All right. And a lot of these Christians don't have that. All right. They might have a bit of, studies. They went to a theological seminary or cemetery, as the apostles call it. All right. That might think that they have a bit of academia in its field, but what's really missing is the spirit. So they really don't have the understanding that the prophets would have, because the prophets, they have the spirit. All right. So anyway, 2 Timothy 2:15, it says, "Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." So that's what we're to do. All right. Divide the word of truth directly and correctly. Okay. The scriptures say not to lean upon thine own understanding. And you do that if, you don't not only learn the history, but you don't go into the meaning of the words, the root words, the Greek, the Hebrew. If you're not going precept upon precept, which like King David said, through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore, I hate every false way. All right. And continuing on, it says, but shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness, and the word will eat as doeth a canker, like a cancer that spreads, of whom is Hymenaeus and Philetus, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some. And a lot of those preterists, that doctrine is a doctrine of the devil. Because if you're saying that the Lord already came back, tribulation already occurred, the mark of the beast, was already, it already happened. All these different things that, we're to prophesy about. You saying that it already happened, then there's nothing else forward to look to. There's nothing left to look forward to. Because these are the main end time events. All right. You're going to have before the resurrection, you're going to have, tribulation, Jacob's trouble, great persecution. You're going to have the third world's war, the third woe. Okay. You're going to have the mark. This devil's going to issue out a mark, and they already have the system in place to control your buying and selling. And that's what this whole CBDC system is about. All right, programmable money that they can control and have surveillance of. And it'll be through the same system that will require you to have digital identification, so that way they know who they're surveilling. And if, you speaking against this government, or you speaking something that they deem anti-sim, that's when they can cut you off. But they're gonna eventually want it implantable. All right, and I'm pretty sure maybe this guy haven't seen the fine print on what this government got in stores. When you read about that, we brought it out maybe a month or two ago, how they plan on bringing 6G. And in the mission, one of the things that was mentioned was implantable technologies. And what could that implantable technology mean? Or what could that actually be? And then why would Trump, in relation to that, say something about deep under the skin? So what's going to go up under the skin? You know what I mean? So these are things that if you have the spirit of discernment and you know these scriptures and you know prophecy, then that would ring a lot of bells. But anyway, verse 18, I'm going to read it again. It says, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some. All right. And the resurrection hadn't happened. Now, the Lord, by the time that Paul wrote this to Timothy, he had arose and ascended back to the Father to sit on his right hand. That happened. And yes, you had people when the Lord rose, died on that cross, that you had people that came out of their graves and, you know, they walked back into the cities and live the rest of their lives. That did happen, but we're talking about the resurrection on the day of judgment. All right, the day of the second death and the day that, you know, the books will be open. All right. What he told to the church of Thessalonica about those that sleep in the Lord, they shall be risen. All right. And they're going to be caught up into a cloud. That event has not happened. That's the resurrection. They who are dead in the Lord shall be raised first. And then we that are alive and remaining shall be caught up with them in the cloud. That ain't happened yet. So for them to teach back then that the resurrection had already passed, they was overthrowing the faith of many. And it was spreading through the church, and certain people got weak. And they was believing that BS. So Paul had to address these guys by name. So if you teaching that the MOTB had already happened, then, you know, you in the same boat, right? You're a deceiver and a devil. All right. So let's go to the video now.
The beast and how he's not just merely a symbol of generic evil, rather he is the historical embodiment of Roman imperial power. Revelation depicts the empire's political domination as this monstrous force animated by the dragon found in Revelation chapter 12. So clear.
And what is the dragon? The dragon, which is the first beast, that's the Roman Empire. What you're describing, yes, that's the Roman Empire. But I bet he doesn't understand, because he probably didn't learn it in the theological seminary, or I don't know who he learned from. But the Roman Empire ended up falling, but it was only for a certain period of time that Rome would fall before it would resurface. And now we're living in the revitalized Roman Empire with the same structures. Like America, you should know that America is an embodiment of Rome. Right? The fact that, you know, the Roman customs, the Roman system is still here. You got the Senate, you got the two-party system, you know, which back then they had the plebeians and the patricians, and now you have the Republican and Democrat. All right, let's get Revelation 13. And right now, under that same system, you have a lot of draconian, authoritarian, you know, impositions right now. where people are being oppressed. A lot of rights are being taken away. They're making it harder for people to be able to speak freely. They're taking away the freedom of speech. They're censoring platforms. All right, all these executive orders that they're putting in place, it's all draconian. It says this is Revelation 13:11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Okay, because this society is modeled after the ancient Roman Empire. All right, the modern bread and circuses, that's Roman entertainment. All right, these events that happen at these arenas and stadiums. Like we know in the coming weeks we're gonna have another Super Bowl, right? And that's another form of bread and circuses that they're gonna have at the modern Coliseum, aka stadium. Everybody's gonna be distracted. Just like in Rome, they were distracted with the bread and circuses while the monetary system was being depleted. The economy was going down. It was the Roman armies was spread too thin, fighting all these different wars. Okay, there's nothing new under the sun. We're back at it again. So this beast right here coming up out of the earth and had two horns like a lamb. This is clearly talking about America. Okay, and he exercises all the power of the first beast, which was our ancient Rome before him, and causes the earth and them which dwelled therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed, because it tells you that he had a deadly wound. All right. So the Roman Empire had to temporarily die for a certain period of time, but then the Lord he had to bring the that empire back. And when you read the 20th chapter, it talks about how that dragon, he was Satan. He was bound for a season, and then he would be loose from out of the bottomless pit. So it was a big time gap where the Edomites that ruled in Rome, they were exiled. They fell. And the darker nations were ruling at the time. That's why they called it the Dark Ages. But really, this age that we're living in is Dark Ages, because look at the moral decay of this world. Look at the conditions of the world, the earth. Yeah, we got all this technology, but just look at the conditions of everything. The whole world is in darkness. So we're in the Dark Ages now, okay? Because the rulers, the powers that be, their light is darkness. Okay. That's what they do. They, like it says in Job, the 5th chapter. Job 5 and Job 5 and 14, and it says they meet with darkness in the daytime and group in the noonday as in the night. All right. Making all these global decisions, and all it's doing is just causing more decay of the earth. Okay. So this beast, it was wounded to death, but it had to be healed. Okay. So going back, so I don't think he realized that, the ancient Roman Empire that he's describing, it was destined to fall for a season, and then it was going to resurface. All right, that deadly wound was going to be healed, and then he was going to be brought back for a certain period of time. And we're in that time now. All right, and Daniel, the vision that he saw the same beast. He saw the same entity, that system. All right. But he described it as being diverse from all the other beasts. and that it would be you know, it would rule with an iron fist, so to speak. It would be terrible. But also, when it got to the toes, the feet, it would be divided as well. Because now you have the European Union, which started off as the Treaty of Rome, and you see how they differ in politics and certain policies. And then now with America, having all this authority, they're beginning to shift away from that alliance. Through NATO, all right, the NATO alliance. They're done with America, man. So let's listen to some more.
What is at hand is that there is this major satanic force out to destroy God and his church. The beast would have this false authority with the diadems, with the blasphemous names, in clear opposition to God and his Christ. There is nothing good about this beast at all, and he's clearly after the church during the age of the Roman Empire. But how does this play out with the mark of the beast, and how the second beast, and this is key, the second beast is a prominent reality after the first beast? In light of the second beast, I think that this is...
Yeah, meaning it's the extension of the first beast, the Roman Empire. So what is the modern day Roman Empire? Oh, it's the system. Yeah, but what people occupy that system? Who's in control of that system? I know he wouldn't want to admit to it. All right. If he and I don't know if he might be an Edomite. Who knows? But he would have to admit that it's his people. All right, the people they look like you. They rule and occupy this and control this system of this world. Okay. They're the ones that's making all the decisions when it comes to economic, political agendas. All right, they're the ones that's orchestrating the new global system that everybody in the world have to come up under. So who gave them all this authority to make all these decisions for the planet? We didn't know, ain't nobody voting these people in. All right. So you tell me. The scriptures say that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
Key here is that the second beast is in complete alignment with the first beast. And I know that seems like an obvious, but what does this mean? Is that the second beast is in complete agreement, in complete junction with the first beast, just like Jesus is in complete alignment and complete agreement with the Father and the mission that he set out Jesus to do. And so we have a satanic misrepresentation that is at hand, that is at play in light of the Roman imperial culture. And there is so many things where the Roman imperial authorities that are at hand are demanding complete loyalty. And according to Richard Bauckham, and
yeah, you look at how the Trump administration, BB, and really the globalists, the international banking families, the super rich that actually controls these people, you can actually see how they're starting to become more stern, as far as getting the world to comply with their world order. All right, causing all these chaotic eruptions in the world, and then bringing forth these draconian solutions. So they want loyalty. That's why they want to monitor and have everybody under surveillance. This is why they want you to come up under a digital identity. That way they know your political affiliation, your your belief system. And if it's not in conjunction with this new government, this new setup, this one world order, then you can be ostracized. You could be cut off, or you could be interrogated and even put to death, martyred. And that's Revelation 13 and 15. Eventually, it's going to come to that. They're drawing a line right now. Who's coming against this system? Who has an issue with, our agenda, our new world agenda? Who's going to speak against the Zionists that's fronting these wars and got America taking all these lands by force so they can have a global world order? If you speak against if you speak against this current government, if you speak against Zionist Israel, it's going to be action taken. Scriptures say he showed, let me get it, Psalms 94. And verse 20. And it says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? And that's all these laws and executive orders and legislations that's being put into place to make you a further slave to this new system. All right. And they're also generating a global technocracy to basically impose that authority on the people. So just imagine you got to go along with their policies and their regulations, and you can't be defiant if you got drones and robots and automated systems that's watching your every move and directing you and telling you what to do. That's what they're gonna eventually do. All right. And then they're going to want to also augment you, because that's part of the fourth industrial revolution, is to, have humanity augmented with this technology. Hence the 6G objective to implant you with implantable technology. And all these people, they all allude to something being under the skin. You don't think that this is them framing that mischief? It says they gathered themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemned the innocent blood. All right. So let's continue.
He actually writes what this means in regards to the image of the beast. This is going to be what's going to set the stage for the mark of the beast himself. And it's...
Yeah, he giveth life unto the image of the beast, and that it should speak, and them giving life to it, because that image is an idol. All right, is mirrored after the first system. You got to basically bow down and reverence them through obeying and complying with this system. And they're even saying that this new AI thing is becoming like a new religion. Are they going to make AI, like a godhead? You got to, go to it to know all things, like as if it's omniscient. They're going to rely upon it for healing, like Neuralink. They been testing it and seeing the effects that it have on people that have these disabilities. So that's a pseudo miracle, So they're going to be doing stuff like that through this technology, and people are going to wander after it. They're going to admire it, and they're going to eventually want in. And that's Paul when he said, even he who's coming is after the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders. So he's gonna deceive people with his image, and it's gonna cause people to receive that mark. You see, and then it goes on to say that people are going to basically be under strong delusion, believing in his lie. 2 Timothy, not Timothy, Thessalonians 2:10. And it says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. You know, they didn't want to hear the gospel, and they didn't want to believe what the prophets spoke. They rather follow after this beast. For this cause, the Most High shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. So these people are going to believe, and they're going to give in. You know, let me get this implant because I don't want to be cut off. I want to, you know, I want my life to go back to normal. It's the same thing that occurred 5 years ago when they was you know, coercing people and putting people under fear to take that potion that they were shooting in people's arms. Same thing, but this one's gonna be even more forceful because, you know, several people got away with not taking it, and they still are perfectly fine. They still got their jobs, and you know, they're still able to live. But when this comes, which is why it's the hour of temptation, because everybody's going to have to they're going to be faced, you know, with this moment. Okay, everybody's going to be put to the test when this happens. But let's keep going.
He writes, the image of the beast is not merely a statue, but a cultic representation that participates in the beast's authority. Its animation signifies...
Yeah, and the authority is going to be backed by a technocracy. All right, they're gonna rule you with advanced technology, where the technology will be able to keep the people under control, under their authority. This is what they have in these discussions about at the World Economic Forum. What do you think that's all about?
Is that imperial power seeks not only worship, but a visible form through which its sovereignty can be publicly enacted. All of this points out to Rome demanding complete loyalty, demanding complete rejection of recognizing Jesus as the Messiah, recognizing Jesus as the one true God. This demands your whole being. And this is the big thing that John is portraying to his readers, not having them necessarily fear a chip that is to come or a credit card, but of a reality and a hope of what is to come, and the understanding of knowing Jesus.
So he doesn't believe that it'll be a C-hip. He doesn't believe that. He's saying that John, the vision that he saw, he didn't see people augmented with implants, walking around scanning their hands or their heads. You know, people that didn't have it, they were cut off. You know, so John didn't see that. He just seeing, oh, this is authority over the people and the demand of complete loyalty. Huh? Well, one of the ways you're gonna have to show your loyalty is you got to give your body. Because like this, Paul said, to glorify the Lord with your body, who you know, who's the Lord's is. Basically, these bodies are where to glorify him in these bodies. Our bodies are the temple. You allow this beast to implant something into your body, you just gave your body over to another. in the ancient world, to be stamped with the stamp of like we always bring out the example in the Maccabees, or the history of Ptolemy, where under him you had to worship the Dionysus. All right, he's supposed to be the god of wine and prosperity and all that. And in order to commemorate him, you had to wear a wreath on your head, and also you would have to get marked with ink from an ivy leaf pen, and that would basically cause you to be stamped, as a devotee to that particular deity. And that was how you actually honored the king, by serving Dionysus. All right. So everybody had to have that mark if they wanted to continue to buy and sell and do, their normal day functions. So it's the same concept today. All right. What is the best way to show your loyalty to somebody? Like these Greek fraternities, to show their loyalty to the brotherhood, you have to get what? You got to get branded. You got street gangs. To show their loyalty to their gang, their hood, they'll get it tatted on them. If their gang is named after a street, I'm from 18th Street. You're gonna get 18th Street tatted on your body to show your loyalty. Same concept. This beast is gonna come with his mark, and he's gonna want it on your body or in your body. And then it even tells you that he's gonna have a number, which that number being 606. Now, it's not necessarily saying like that movie The Omen, that Damon will have 666 on the top of his head. No, he's gonna put an implant in your body, and that number is a representation of him. So, yeah, this guy, he clearly doesn't understand.
Is an authority, that Jesus is ruling, and there is nothing to be afraid of. And so the mark of the beast is it's a status. It's a sign of complete loyalty to Rome.
It's a status. It's a complete sign of loyalty to Rome. That's what he's saying it is. It's not a sea hip. It's just a status and complete loyalty to Rome. So how do you qualify that with today's time? Well, if he's saying in the title it already happened, then he's saying that this may have happened during the time of Nero, or during the time of the year of the four emperors, or under Titus and Vespasian and Domitian. Now, that would be problematic if he tries to say this, because John, he saw the vision while he was on the Isle of Patmos. He was banished to the Isle of Patmos by Emperor Domitian, the last of the Flavian dynasty, which they say he ruled from anywhere between 81 AD to 96 AD. And I'm trying to remember which church it was. I think it might have been the church of Pergamos. Yeah, it was the church of Pergamos, where he actually mentioned a martyr by the name of Antipas. All right. And when you look up the history on Antipas, most historians and theologians agree that Antipas that he passed in 92 AD. Okay. And you preterists, you believe that everything or most of the things written of in the law and the prophets were fulfilled by 70 AD. Well, if the mark of the beast and all these things had occurred back during the time of ancient Rome, and this was all fulfilled by 70 AD, how would John have mentioned Antipas dying, and this is supposed to be 92 AD? That would mean that this was decades after 70 AD when he made mention of Antipas. So that wouldn't work with your timeline. So he would have had to have these visions well after 70 AD. Okay. And then after the death of Domitian, it became basically a different rule. It was still a Roman Empire, but it became a different rule. All right, because after that you had was it a Nerva? You know, you had basically Jake came in and started to rule right after Domitian. So it wouldn't make sense. And then two, I'm about to land the plane and shut down. But when you say a sign of loyalty, do you not know that concept goes all the way back? And one of the ways that you show loyalty to a king or even to a master that you served, that you worked for, you would be branded. Okay. When you go to let's go to Exodus 21 real quick. Like when you had a servant who served his master and he didn't want to leave the master's house because he had a real good relationship with him, what he would do is he would bore him, he would pierce his ear with an awl. And that awl was a symbol of loyalty. So this is a physical act. Exodus 21, this is in the Amplified Bible. Exodus 21 and 5, it says, "But if the servant plainly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children," much like people today, if they love this beast, they love this system, you know, they love the convenience of the technology and they want to be ruled and controlled by this technocracy via the international banking families and the authority coming from Zionist Israel and America. "I will not leave as a free man. Then his master shall bring him to the Most High God, that is, to the judges who act in God's name. Then he shall bring him to the door or doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, strong needle, and he shall serve him for life." So you did this to show strong loyalty to your master, to serve him for the rest of your life. So when you receive that mark, that's pretty much the same concept. Let me do this. Was the awl a symbol of loyalty to the master? Yes, an awl, sometimes historically spelled oil, was a symbol of voluntary loyalty and lifelong commitment to a master in the context of ancient Hebrew law, Exodus 21, 5-6, Deuteronomy 15, 16 through 17. All right. So yes, this is a permanent bond, and it marks voluntary loyalty. So Esau, this devil, this beast today, he's gonna want loyalty, and the concept of the mark of the beast is not far off from this concept. The difference is this is going to be digital. They're going to pierce something into you, and you're going to be placed into a system, a digital system. where he can control your every walk, your every move. He can control what you buy, what you sell. He can see what you think. He can do all that with this technology now. All right. So it's the same concept. And it says a strong needle in the parentheses, that syringe that they implant the C-hip with. That's a strong needle. So there's nothing new under the sun, man. So obviously this dude, he doesn't know. Okay. And you see how he keeps just looking over to the corner and reading something as he's speaking. So this is clearly, he's indoctrinated with this belief. Okay. And only the simple are gonna believe this. So I'm gonna end the lesson on that, and hopefully y'all are edified. I'm gonna give all honor, praise, and glory to y'all by Shem Shai. And to the next lesson, I'll say Shalom.